All right. So again, going over the four questions from yesterday. So on that page, the four questions that are smaller are the ones that most people got to yesterday. The two that are bigger are for the assignment after I've gone over these four. So on yesterday's assignment, where you're doing these as a group, the first question gave you some dates of birth dates and then also vaccination dates. It gave you some specific information as to what makes them eligible to go to school. It says they have to be age 5 and they have to receive their vaccination at least 25 days previous to enrollment. So, guys. All right. So on here, you have in that first column, there are dates for birth dates. So first, going down that list, we need to see that they're at least 5 years old. So going down the list, the first person on the list, Abraham, is 5 years old. In order to be 5 years old, they would have had to be born in 2020 prior to September, right? So on here, June 2020 works. Then February 2021 does not work. May 2020 works. August 2020 works. July 2020 works. September 2021, that does not work. October 2020, yes, they have the correct year, but October comes after September, so that one doesn't work either. So we're down to these four people would be 5 at the age they need, or at the time of enrollment. So we have, again, the 4 people that are 5, Abraham, David, Luke, and Peter. They meet the first requirement. However, on the second one, if you look at vaccination days, it says at least 25 days previous. So we know that they are enrolling on the 1st of September. The first column, the first date there, we have August 1st. That works. August 23rd, that would not be 25 days prior, so that one doesn't work. August 10th does not work. Again, this date is too early. So on both of those, not too early, too late. So then we have August 5th, that works. August 4th, that works. July, that works. August 17th, that doesn't work. That one's too late. So we have 4 people who got vaccinated in time. So the only ones that have both a vaccination and the correct date of birth are Abraham, Luke, and Peter. And that would be our answer for this one. So Abraham, Luke, and Peter. Now, on here, just so you know, for points, all right, some of you guys had an extra person the first time I checked this off for a lot of you yesterday. And if you had one additional or one less than what was the answer, you would have still got 1 point for that on the actual test. So a lot of you guys also included David. Yes, he met the one requirement, but he didn't meet the other. There's also a few people that included Michael. Again, he met the one requirement, but not the other. So you have to make sure that they meet both the requirements. Now, once you answered A, these are the only ones that worked. So for part B, your answer is limited to only one of these 3. Question B says, which child, as a result of this new rule, is no longer able to start school on September 1st, 2025? So the new rule was that they have to be at least 5 years and 6 days old on the vaccination day. So looking at when they got vaccinated, we had to see if they were at least 5 years and 6 days from that day. So the first one, Abraham, he's good. Second one, Luke, well, his birthday is not until August 8th, and he got vaccinated on August 5th. So that's the one where it does not work. He was not 5 yet. He was almost 5. So for this one, Luke would not be able to enroll based on the new information. All right. So that was problem number 1. Moving over to problem number 2. Oops, didn't mean to hit that. All right, so the next part. All right, this one is giving us it's like a grocery store, it seems like, and we have different costs. She wants to have a cheaper price for a recipe based on all the ingredients that the recipe calls for. Now, we have 3 of the prices given to us for the other shop. Her shop, she only tells us 2 of the prices. So first thing we need to do is figure out what are they charging at the other store. So we need to figure out at the other store what the total price would be. Well, we have the first thing on the list was $1.75. The second price was $5.50. And the third price was $2.25. That's coming straight from that chart up there. For a total of, if we add this up, that's going to give us $9.50. Now, again, if you wanted to use a calculator, you could. You don't really have to use one for that. But this is the total for the other store. All right. Now, once you have that total, we're taking that and we're multiplying it by, we want 10% cheaper. So we're going to have our price at 90% of what the other store is charging. So I'm going to multiply this by 0.90. We could do 0.10. If we did 0.10, we'd have to then subtract that value off. By doing 0.90, I'm just getting what my total needs to be right now. So times 0.9, that gives us 8.55. So all of mine together need to total the 8.55. That's the total at Kelly's store. All right. Now, she already told us the pasta was $1.70. And I also said that the sauce was $2. So we're subtracting off those 2 values, which should leave us with $4.85. That $4.85, that's going to be our price for the beef. All right, $4.85 is the final answer. All right, third one. Now, some people got this one really fast. Others seem to kind of struggle. You really had to look at the parts that were given to you here. There were 3 requirements. So it said that there's there's really 4 requirements. It's a 4-digit PIN. And then the following properties had to apply. The 2-digit number formed by the last 2 digits is twice as large as the 2-digit number formed from the first 2. The second and third digits are the same as each other, and the sum of all 4 digits is 21. Now, you can start this off different ways, but it's pretty much guessing and checking. So the way I started this off was I had 4 blanks. For these 4 blanks, I start off with the different numbers in the middle. So 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9. Now, I did not do 0, 0 because of the idea where it has to be doubled. I'm not going to be able to have a value of 0 that gets doubled and give me a front digit of 0. So this is what I'm limited to at the start. If I started off with that the second bullet point there. So I know that they're the same. Second thing I did, went through, looked at this number, the second digit, and doubled it. Because again, this second number has to be the first 2 digits doubled. So if I double the second digit, I should get what the fourth digit should be. So 1 times 2 is 2. Then I had 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 2 is 6. 4 times 2 is 8. 5 times 2 is 10. Now, I only put a 0 because, again, it's going to be more than this. So that's going to figure into the next part here. 6 times 2 is 12. So the last digit would be 2. 7 times 2 is 14. 8 times 2 is 6. 9 times 2 is 8. Now, since I have the final 2 digits, I need to figure out what the first number is. So the second 2 should be double the first. Well, I have 12 for these 2. What's half of 12? Half of 12 is 6. Well, I can't put 0, 6 here. That doesn't work because I already had 1 as this value. So this one definitely can't work. All right. Then looking at the next one, 2, 4. So I have 24. Half of 24 is 12. It might work. So far, it works for the first 2 bullets. What if we add those together? Well, if we add them up, we get 9. We need it to add up to 21. So that one doesn't work either. So again, we can keep going down this list. I have 36. Half of 36 is 18. Well, that doesn't work. This was a 3. So it can't be that one. We had 48. Half of 48 is 24. All right. So it works for the first 2. Add them up. If I add up all 3 of those, we get 18. That doesn't work. Again, we need it to be 21. Then we had 50. Half of 50 is 25. All right, so far so good. Meets the first 2 bullets. Add them up though, and you only get 12. So that doesn't work either. Then we had 62. Half of 62 is 31. Well, that doesn't work because that's a 6. So that definitely can't be it. 74. Half of 74 is 37. Add those up, and we do get 21. So that one works. Since we only have 2 left, we could go ahead and check the last 2. Half of 86 is going to be 43. We already have an 8 there, so that can't work. 98, half of that is 49. If we add up all those, we get 30. So that's too big. That one doesn't work. The only one that works is 3774. Now, could you have done that different ways? Yeah, you could have started off guessing, checking different ways. That's just the way that I thought was the most systematic for eliminating different values. So by starting with the 2 digits in the middle, knowing that they had to be the same, it limited it to only 9 possibilities. And then from there, figured out what the last digit would have had to been by doubling the second digit. And then after doubling that, looking back and dividing that last 2 digits by 2 to see what the first 2 digits would be. Again, that's the only one that worked for all of them. All right. So now the last one, number 4. Before doing anything else on number 4, I probably would have done a diagram because there's a lot of information given to you in that top part. Now I chose to draw my diagram up in the top margin. Again, you can draw it wherever you want, but I drew a little diagram to go with it. We know that we're going back and forth between West Head and East Point. All right, so starting from West Head at 9 o'clock, there was a bus that then went to East Point and arrived at East Point 12 minutes later at 9:12. The first bus leaving East Point then was at 9:15, and it went back to West Head. It arrived 12 minutes later, so that was at 9:27. The next bus left West Head at 9:30 and went back to East Point, and it arrived there 12 minutes later, so that would have been 9:42. The next one left East Point at 9:45, went back to West Head, and arrived there at 9:57. Now, this pattern keeps continuing. So every 30 minutes, they departed West Head on the hour and on the 30. At East Point, they departed at the 15 and the 45 of each hour. But now they have an idea of what's going on. They're going back and forth. And this time just keeps repeating for each of the hours. So it's kind of a visual to help me out. On the first question, it says, was the bus traveling towards West Head or towards East Point when it first passed her? Justify your answer. Well, it said that she departed at 10:19, right? So where's the bus at 10:19? Well, again, just looking at a different hour here. So again, we could ignore these hours. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and just erase these hours just so we're looking at the minutes part of this. So at 19, that bus is between East Point and West Head, heading towards West Head, right? Because that departs at 15 of the hour and arrives at 27 of the hour. So it's going towards West Head. So you need to say something like towards West Head. And then you could have said that the bus departed East Point at 10:15. And arrives at West Head at 10:27. Now, since it said justify your answer, it was only worth 1 point, but if you didn't have some type of justification, you wouldn't get any points. If you just said towards West Head, you wouldn't get any points. Now, yesterday for the group work, I accepted it if you just said towards West Head, but really you have to have some type of explanation. The explanation, knowing when it departs which place and where it's headed, that would help out. All right, on the second part, how many times did the bus pass her? Now, we needed a little bit of information here. We need to know how long she was walking for. Well, we were told how far the route was. So up at the top, it said it is a total of 7.2 kilometers long. She's walking at a rate of 4 kilometers per hour. So if we go 7.2 kilometers divided by the 4 kilometers per hour, we're going to get how many hours it took her to travel. So actually, let me write underneath. Need some space. So it took her a total of 1.8 hours. Change that to time. When we have 1 hour, 0.8, I'd have to do 0.8 times 60. 0.8 times 60 gives us 48. So 1 hour, 48 minutes. Now, since I have that, we can figure out how long she was walking. She left at 10:19. If I add an hour and 48 minutes to that, well, 1 plus 10 is 11. This gives me 67. So I got to round that up because I only have 60 minutes in an hour. So that means that we're going over to 12, and this will be 07. All right. So at 12:07, that's when we stopped walking. That's when we reached our destination. So we're walking from 10:19 to 12:07. Now, once you know how long she was walking, we can look at the bus schedule. Well, again, I had my bus schedule that I wrote out ahead of time over here. So I know that the bus that left at 10:15 was the first bus that passed her. So 10:15 passed her. Then the one that left at 10:30 would have passed her. The one that left at 10:45 would have passed her. The one that left at 11 o'clock would have passed her. At 11:15, that bus passes her. At 11:30, that bus passes her. At 11:45, that bus goes past her. And then the next bus is at 12 o'clock. Does that bus pass her? Well, it leaves at 12. It arrives at 12:12. Right? So it arrives at 12:12. What time did she arrive? 12:07. So did that last bus pass her? Or did she get there before the bus? She got there before the bus. So that last bus didn't pass her. So how many buses passed her? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 buses passed her. So 7 times. Have your answer. Now, I was able to fit most of my work in there, but you may have had to do some of it off to the side in order to do all that work. All right. Again, every once in a while, I feel like the space is limited. You can still do work off to the side, so it would help to have that schedule ahead of time off to the side so that you could have used that for multiple problems. I'm not changing anything yet. All right. Now, the last one, part B, I think was the easiest one out of all of them, as long as you had a schedule drawn up. So again, as long as you had the schedule done ahead of time, that made this last part a lot easier, because it says at East Point, she visited the aquarium. She left the aquarium at 15:20. Well, at 15:20, she then took the next available bus back to Westhead. So there's only 2 times that it departs Easthead, on the 15 and on the 45. So he left the aquarium at 15:20. Would she have made the 15:15 bus? No. So her only other option was the next one after that, which was the 15:45. So she's going at 15:45 from East Point, and then she's arriving at Westhead at 57. So whoops, I accidentally moved that. Give me 1 second to get it back. There it is. So she arrived back at Westhead at 15:57, and that's our time. She got there at 15:57. That's what it was asking for. Again, we don't have to change anything to AM, PM. Again, just leave it as military time. You don't have to do any extra conversions. All right. But those are the 4 questions from yesterday. So now what you're doing the rest of the period, you have 2 more questions on the back of that paper that I only had 1 group from each class get to. So some of you might have a little bit of a head start because a couple of you may have seen that problem yesterday, number 5. I don't think I gave anybody number 6 in any of my classes. So you have those 2 problems that I want you to finish, and then I'll make a spot on Canvas for you to upload it to. All right, but that's your assignment.